word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
Just Our Take is our web show. Say hi. What's your number one program that you want to take care of?
First thing we got to do, we got to get the economy back on track. Inflation under control. We can't be having $4 gasoline. We can't be having groceries unaffordable. We got to get the economy working for all Montanans again.
UFC CEO Dana White, 45, soon to be 47, President-elect Donald Trump.
He did the Trump dance. He did the Trump dance.
Also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo.
Still amazed at the way that thing catches. It's almost like out of a science fiction movie. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Just Our Take Sunday edition. This is episode number 101, and I'm your host, Dave. I'm not. I'm your host, John, and this is my co-host, Dave. How you doing, Dave?
I just had a moment where I'm like, well, then who am I?
Right?
Yeah. Good evening, John. I am happy to say we survived episode 100, or I survived episode 100.
Pretty sure I did.
Yeah. Welcome to Just Our Take. The views expressed on this program are our own. We hope you find it a little bit entertaining and a little bit informative. And if you agree, great. If you disagree, or if you think we got it wrong, light us up in the chat. We're happy to learn from you. John, a lot going on. We talked a little bit ago about starting things off with some headlines. And so I want to tell you, I know we can't talk about everything. It's just too much, right? But here's a few headlines just for funsies. One, Trump considers a third term. JD Vance gets a chilling reception in Greenland. NPR may lose some of their important funding. Tariffs may go into effect April 2nd. I guess they will go into effect. We're headed for a recession after all. Trump warns that he may bomb Iran if they reject the nuclear deal. Richard Chamberlain has passed away at 90. SignalGate, I'll say no more for now. Putin's limousine was blown up shortly after Zelensky said he might die. Don't know how. We have a lot on the Tesla protest. That's always fun. XAI buys X for $33 billion. Pro-Palestine students tear up their diplomas. Rapper Scooter died fleeing the police. By the way, this almost became another George Floyd incident, but as it turns out, when you die falling after you climb over a fence, it's different than when somebody shoots at you. So Scooter has passed away. Another plane crash, by the way, into a home in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Utah bans fluoride from their drinking water. Turns out it's not just a wacko theory after all. And the GOP headquarters in New Mexico became the latest victim of a pro-democracy arson attack, because that's how you get democracy, is by burning the buildings that you disagree with.
There was a while back, we put on an episode where we talked about plane crashes and how plane crashes are usually targeted unalivings.
That's right.
An eloquent way of putting it. But interestingly enough, that plane crash that you just talked about, the pilot, it turns out he was a U.S. bank executive. I know, coincidence. I know.
That's just crazy talk. Who knew?
Who knows? Was it targeted or not? We'll soon find out. Well, maybe we won't.
Yeah.
Anyway, good stuff. So, David, we talked a lot about last Sunday. We talked a lot about all of the events around Tesla and these people coming completely unhinged. They used to love the Tesla. That was the darling. Even AOC drove a Tesla.
I even have here. Let me show you. I have an image of it, John, because I think sometimes seeing is believing. Well, Scott gets this up for us. Now, this happened when she was getting a little bit of, it was backfiring on her a little bit. Can't say backfiring on a Tesla. Anyways, she was complaining about Puerto Rico and just how horrible things were, and her poor abuela was struggling over there. As it turns out, while her poor abuela was living in a shack, AOC was double parking her Tesla. So yes, she owns she was a proud Tesla owner.
I can see when she gets the ticket. Do you know who I am? No, I do actually. You're all over the TV, but you're still parked illegally.
And for that, we're doubling your fine.
So anyway, all these knuckleheads are still getting out there. Hey, Cats, welcome. All these knuckleheads are getting out there, and they're still doing all the damage to their darling, the Tesla. And I think we should show a few more of them, because it's just hard to believe it's happening.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me pop this up on stage, and I'm going to mute it because there's a lot of choice words in here. But let's just say this guy. Now, okay, let me set the stage. This weekend across the country, there was a call to arms, a call to protest in front of Tesla dealers. In fact, I drove to a local Tesla dealer here after my cousin was posting on a group chat about how there's all these. He was so proud of all the Tesla protesters. And I thought, well, I should go take a look at this. Not that far away. Then I got there. There was like 5 people out there protesting. Really sad. Anyways, this one, there's a few more people protesting, but I won't play the sound, but just, you can see like this woman walks up and she's like, you, and she's got some choice words. And then he, of course, is like, don't touch my car. And, she's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, look at these people. I don't understand it. Do they personally get some personal benefit behind coming out there and losing their minds and protesting? And this one was pretty tame. Go ahead. It looked like you were going to.
No, I was just wondering if you have that other video of the guy who comes out, and I like that the police finally step in and say, you can't do that. Please leave the poor man alone. This guy steps up with the light blue, pale vest and says, okay, move along, sir. And then he has to go block traffic as people were walking. They wouldn't let him cross the street. But anyway,
yeah,
I really, honestly, for the life of me, don't understand how you go from, if you don't drive a Tesla, you're an NAZI, to if you drive a Tesla, now you're an NAZI. And I have to spell it because one of the platforms will take us down for saying that word, even though it is historical and factual.
I think you could say National Socialist, which
You
is
probably can.
which
But
is the
anyway.
actual origin of the.
So I don't understand how they go. I personally, it's just it's too much. And then, then there's this lady was this Arizona, David?
This is in Arizona. I don't know if it's in Flagstaff or right near Flagstaff, but basically this green car cut in front of her, cut her off. The guy gets out and actually accosts her and starts to beat on her. And by the way, she's a 61-year-old woman. So first off, you just don't do that. Like, you just don't get out of your car and go approach somebody with anger like that. And then secondly, you certainly don't start to wail on them. And then lastly, forgive me for being protective of women who are 61 years old, but what the hell is wrong with you? Anyways, listen to the news clip.
Take a look at this. This is video from the victim's Tesla camera. It shows a green car pulling up to a Tesla on busy Route 66, then swerving in front to box the Tesla in. The driver then walks over to the 61-year-old woman in the Tesla and reportedly starts hitting her while she's sitting behind the wheel. At one point, the woman says she bit the man's hand. Moments later, the passenger of the green car appears to walk over and pull the attacker away. They finally get back in their car and drive off. We spoke to the victim who said he was terrified and can't understand why anyone would do this.
I was just stunned, and I wished that I would have had someone with me that would have protected me. I'm just appalled. I didn't buy my car for a political statement. I bought my car because it's really fun to drive, and my politics have nothing to do with that. And I'm ashamed of our society and what they're doing.
The victim, along with the other Tesla owner who received a threatening note and text, have both now signed up for a gun safety course at a gun range north of Flagstaff. They tell us they don't feel safe right now and want to be able to protect themselves.
Classic.
So number one, I'm excited for them to go get some training. The next time Bozo the clown decides that he wants to come try to take a swing at her, it may not end the same way for him. And of course, that's when there'll be outrage. Oh my God, this is terrible. She's literally being accosted in her own vehicle. The next time may not end so well for him.
Well, do you remember the guy in Texas who was I think he was an Army Ranger? He was being attacked. The guy that was attacking him had a gun, pointed it at him, and this person in the car shot him and unalived him. And he was on trial. Unbelievable. The guy was on trial. I just want to go back to that clip for just a second, because as I was watching that clip, something caught my eye and I just had to screen capture it. And here it is. Hey, Jen, you racist POS. They sent that to her. That's the lady that was driving the car. I don't know if you notice anything else about this image. You can
area code 251-322-6984.
The interesting thing is they blocked out something down below, but they left that phone number up there. I'm not sure why they would do that, but we're asking you not to call that number. Just don't.
Not until we're done. Then call if you want to call.
Oh, we're saying don't. We're advising you not to. And yeah, Alice, I think that's absolutely true. I think that there are a lot of people in Montana that are armed and, don't leave home without it. And part of that reasoning is because, it's a safer environment when people are a much more polite. I'm sorry, much more polite environment. How about that?
A much more polite environment. Well, again, so far, maybe it's because a number of the people that are early adopters for Tesla are also on the side of save the planet. I'm part of the crowd that believes in saving democracy, meant voting for Harris. And so maybe they're not gun owners today, but you do stuff like that, then they will discover that they too need to defend themselves against the cabal. I got two more quick ones, and I know you've got a really good one too. I this gentleman sums it up really nicely. Wait till you see what they did to his truck.
I'm saying it's a white Tesla. No, this is what happened to my car, y'all. Look at this. Look at this. Y'all see this? Clown American. I don't know what this is. Is this paint? War. Bro, somebody destroyed my car. Destroyed my car while I was taking you out to the doctor. Destroyed my car.
I can safely say that this guy will never take the side of the cabal again, because this is how the cabal treats somebody who has the wherewithal, has the means to buy a Cybertruck, because those aren't cheap, by the way. It's $100,000. So clearly this guy has the ability. He has the means to acquire this vehicle. This is his vehicle. It's his property. This is how they treat it. I'm pretty confident he won't be voting your way ever again.
Yeah, there's a couple more. Let me toss this one up. This is you have to, there you go. This is a response.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so with that backdrop, burn a Tesla for democracy. The protest was led by Democratic New York officials, including Assembly members Zoran Mammadam, Mikhail Asher, and State Senator Brad Siegel. I mean, you've got public officials not just sitting there, not just in the location, but they're actually supporting it.
Which I gotta say, John, with that in mind, I think this is the last. I have one more after this, but it's a short one. It's just a picture. But with that in mind, you have these public officials out there, part of the protest, right? Which is encouraging violence. And then something like this happens.
We just learned that a 70-year-old man was arrested after Meridian police say he hit another man with his car during today's demonstrations at the Tesla dealership in Meridian. Police say 70-year-old Christopher Talbot of Meridian made an obscene gesture towards a counter-protester and then hit him with his car. Police say the victim had been driving a truck with pro-Trump flags and had just parked and gotten out of his car when Talbot hit him. The victim, we just
Talbot just gotta get him. I gotta get him. I mean, what causes that? What causes it is when you have, well, there are lots of things, but when you have political leaders who stand up and say, take it to the streets, which, by the way, that's come up over and over again. Walls even just said it recently. Take it to the streets. You got to burn it all down. What do you think is going to happen?
Don't buy branded phone chargers until you see what
I'm
this
not going
device
to buy
can
that
do.
branded
It
phone
can
charger
charge your
for
phone
sure.
from
Sorry
0
about
to
that, guys.
100% in record time. It also has a
maybe I will
proprietary
buy it.
tech that can defrag your phone while charging, removing all hidden junk data that's slowing down your phone.
It's actually
This
really good.
groundbreaking
It's
charger is
groundbreaking
taking
new
the
charger
tech world
takes
by
the world
storm. It can charge your phone from 0 to 100.
I may need to get one of those.
Wait, but what are they doing? What is this? Whoa, what the hell? Wait, what is this? What the hell?
Wait, what is this? You're actually arresting us? You can't do that. We're being paid to be here.
It's not fair. Now this protester was really making a statement, and I just wanted to give him his.
But okay.
I'm not sure they're correct pronouns, but I wanted to give them a moment another moment there, 15 minutes. They have 15 minutes and 1 second now. I think you've got a couple others that add to the story.
Well, I'm not going to play any more of the lunacy, but I am going to play this because it sums a lot of what we're talking about up.
Claimed there was 30,000 people, but they got all the cell phone data and they found out there was 24,000 cell phones. So they fudged it a little bit. That sounds normal. But they also said that a huge number of these people had been to 20 plus events and a lot of other different progressive events. And it seems like, at least on some of them, for sure, they were paying people. So they're giving people money to get on a bus, go to this place, here's your sign, go have fun. And so you're doing something different, right? You're pretending that these people are all coming out to see you. But they're coming out to see you because you're giving them money and free food.
Right.
And, you handed out water bottles and everybody gets a sign and everybody seems like they're kind of a part of a team. And for a lot of losers, a lot of people that don't have things going well in their life, and what do we, I was a loser at many points in my life. If somebody called me up and said, hey man, you want to make $400 and just go to this Kamala Harris rally? I'm like, yeah, let's go. I would 100% go. I would 100% go with no political. And then I probably think she's cool. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm fucking voting for her, dude. He's Hitler. That guy, we gotta stop Hitler. And I'd be holding up that stupid sign. If you found me when I was 21, 100% I would have taken that $400.
Yeah.
They were giving out $1,000 for people to protest. I think it was Tesla. I'm not sure about that, but I think it was Tesla. But so they had the rules of engagement. If someone comes after you, hit them in the body. Don't pick up an object unless they pick up an object first. Are you organizing gangs? Are you guys paying money for people and then literally saying to them, here's what happens if you engage in violence? Why is that even on the table? I thought you guys were peacefully protesting. Who's going to get how many pro-Tesla hooligans are out there that have beaten people up for Tesla? Is it fucking zero? I have not seen a bunch of pro-Tesla gang members out there. So what are you going to encounter with this anti-Tesla movement? The police? Who's going to stop you from who's going to engage with you? You're kind of talking in a way that at least puts it on the table that violence might take place. And you're paying people.
Yeah. And because they destroyed language, now it sort of logically makes sense, right? If these people are Nazis. If you actually thought they were Nazis,
right.
If you actually thought Nazis had taken over your country, you'd pick up a gun, right?
You shouldn't need $1,000 and free lunch. $1,000 and free lunch is crazy.
You need to smooth things over, make it easier.
You need to subsidize your movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would have a hard time doing the $1,000 one. I'd be like, bro, we're going to jail. I'd be like, I'm not that stupid. I'll hold the sign. I'll go to the rally. But if I was 21, they said, look, $1,000, you want to protest against Tesla? I'd be like, hold on. What happens if we get arrested? This guy's rich.
Yeah.
He's not going to let you light his fucking cars on fire, stupid. He's the richest man on earth. What are you talking about?
He's so good.
Yes.
Joe's
had an awakening. Joe's had an awakening too, by the way. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of those comments I want to come back to. All right.
Okay.
So can we not hit those right now?
Of course.
It's very interesting, all of the things that are going on. I tend to very much believe that these Tesla protesters are being paid, and we're going to talk about why and by who in just a few minutes. But there's also this whole SignalGate stuff that's coming out. Have you been following it?
Yeah, I have been following it. It feels like the left, I hate to call it the left, the cabal, there's something we can glom onto, and they sink their claws into it, and they're making this the one. They're making the big full court press. This is the big dramatic moment. Now we got you. You're all going to be fired. And I'm thinking, I think you're overplaying this one a little bit, but that's all they got.
So, when we talked about this the other night, I said there's something more. They're trying to call someone out. They're trying to find out who and where, what are the connections. Somebody, look, Hexeth did not accidentally put this on there. He did not accidentally. Hey, John, Dave, everyone. Sorry I missed some of the last episode, John. Phone died halfway through. Oh, no. Yeah, you know what? This is Bill. This was Superfan Patty's son. And so, Will, we're always touched. She's always going to be a part of the show. And I'm glad you got a chance to go back and see that. I think you could see that I got a little choked up in that. But anyway, thanks for being on board and thanks for letting us know. I was going in and I was digging through some of the information because there's got to be something more to it. That's this whole Signal thing. It was such fake outrage. And boy, they really were glamming on like they thought they got him. They finally got Hegseth. They're going to get a head on a pike, and this is the first takedown of Trump. And then it comes out that the CEO of PBS is the chairman of the board of Signal. What? Come on. You got to be kidding me. There's no allegations that Signal was hacked or that Signal was broken into. It's quite a coincidence, though. I don't think that the CEO would, or the board of directors would want to hurt their own brand. So that's probably just a coincidence. Hate to say it. But there are some people that are making some interesting connections there. And I think the whole SignalGate is going away. But I want to go back because I talked a little bit about this the other night.
Yep.
The allegation was that top secret battle plan information was released over a non-secure site and in an unauthorized manner. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to read some of this text. Again, I apologize if you weren't with us the other night when we went through this. Time now, 11:44 Eastern Time. Weather is favorable. Just confirmed with CENTCOM. We are go for mission launch. 12:15 Eastern Time. F-18s launch. First strike package. 13:45. Trigger-based F-18's first strike window starts. Target terrorist is at his known location, so should be on time. Should be on time. That's a definite. Also, the strike drones launched the MQ-9s. 14:10, more F-18s launch. Second strike package. 14:15, strike drones on target. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop, pending earlier trigger-based targets. 15:36, F-18 second strike starts. Also, first sea-based Tomahawks launched. Now, based on what you see here, can you tell me where the F-18s were launching from?
Yes, from a place close enough to where they're going to bomb.
Okay. So can you tell me how many F-18s were launched in the first strike package?
Yes, more than one. Because
okay,
it's
can you tell me what the arms package was?
Yes, I cannot.
Can you tell me what went with them? How many fighter planes? How many electronic warfare packages? And who was in charge of? See, the bottom line is there is nothing in regards to the strike packages that is classified. Now, tell me where the target is.
Somewhere where the guy normally is.
And who's the guy?
In his known location.
Who's the guy?
That one guy we're after. Yeah, I mean, your point is right on. There's no information in here.
There's nothing here. Even if this were, because I don't believe, and I'm with you, Marie, I don't believe that anyone in the military wrote this to sound like a military. I think if anything, it was totally set up to, if let's just say Hegseth did put that out, it was totally set up for someone to bite the bait, and they did, and to look like a total fool, because where's the classified information? What second grader wrote this? This isn't even,
no,
Tom Clancy, Tom Clancy writes much better than this stuff. So it's just so silly. But I think, again, to my point, last Sunday was this is not real. And even if this were from Pete Hegseth, there is not an ounce of classified information in here. Now, I want to move on to the next fun thing. Because, once they think they've got their teeth in somebody, they're going to not let go. So they think they've got Pete Hegseth on the ropes, and they're not getting a whole lot of traction with this whole, I don't know, what do you call it? The SignalGate thing. It's starting to fade a little bit. So Pete Hegseth under attack in latest leak to the Wall Street Journal. So they're going after Pete Hegseth again. And this time, what they're saying is Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is under attack once again. Anonymous sources. Anonymous sources. Sorry, I had to. Told the Wall Street Journal. Pete Hegseth brought his wife, Jennifer Hegseth, to 2 meetings with foreign military officials during which they discussed sensitive information. Now,
according to the anonymous source,
is the sensitive information that maybe the defense official has an unfortunate itch? I mean, we don't know what that sensitive information is.
I mean, that's
sorry, I had to. According to the Wall Street Journal, Jennifer Hegseth, a private citizen, was present at a meeting at the Pentagon when Pete Hegseth met UK Secretary of Defense John Healey in March. Hegseth's wife also present at a meeting last month at NATO headquarters in Brussels. Wonder if she had any of those Brussels sprouts. Spouses of high-ranking presidential administration officials usually have a low-level security clearance at minimum. So a low-level security clearance could be a secret security clearance, because she may be around some conversations that did not require them to go into a special SCIF to have the conversation. And they have vetted her. They've explained to her what it means to have that security clearance. They've explained to her what the ramifications of leaking any of that information are. And if she has a security clearance, that means that she's been vetted, she's been background checked, and she is authorized to hear at some point, some level, some parts of secret. Again, none of that stuff is need to know at the secret level. Not really. Secret stuff is, I mean, it's just not that. I hate to say it, it's not a gigantic deal. And just as a refresher, it goes confidential, secret, top secret, compartmentalized, and then Q.
Okay, so here's my ignorant question. Does the first lady or first gentleman, first lady, do they have top secret clearance also? I'm just wondering, because Jill Biden was at all of Joe's meetings at one point.
Yeah, I don't believe they have top secret. It would be unique if they would have to have some form of cabinet position, I believe, to have a top, because you don't give a top secret clearance unless you are routinely going to be exposed to top secret material and have a need to know. That is where you start getting really hairy about that stuff.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, first off, we have the anonymous source actually did not know what the conversations, they have no idea what the topics were in the conversation.
It was sensitive.
It was very sensitive, but everything's very sensitive nowadays. Very, very triggered. Anonymous sources. But I think this is a really good moment here just to pause and say, every single time, and this audience probably is already there. I guess it's just for all the people the rest of the people in our lives, they see a headline and then they go ballistic. Oh my God, I can't believe Musk did that, or Trump did that, or so-and-so did that. If you just spend a second and you say, anonymous sources said, unnamed source had said, a person inside with knowledge of the situation reported, none of that means anything. If you want to have some real journalistic integrity, there needs to be who said it, when did they say, what exactly did they say, and can you prove it before you can say it's news. Otherwise, it's just entertainment, which is not entertaining when people get hurt, by the way. Sorry, go ahead, John.
So for some reason, it's not coming up over onto the StreamYard post over here, so I can put it up. But Alice says, I don't know why Pete would need his wife there. So here's what I'm going to say. We don't know where there was. We don't know where that meeting took place. We don't know if it was an official meeting or if the Secretary of Defense just happened to be with our Secretary of Defense. Oh, there it is. Just popped up. We don't know what was discussed there. We don't know if that was when they said they met and discussed sensitive information. We don't know what the sensitive information is. And again, it could have been they met over lunch and his wife was there, and maybe the UK defense minister had his wife there too. The thing is, this story is so full of holes. They're just trying to get him, and they want people to read past the holes.
Yeah.
because they want a scalp. They want another head on a pike. They want to try to take him down. And it's boom, boom, boom. See, these guys are falling apart. I want you guys to take this into account. They want you to read past the holes and listen to their narrative that this administration doesn't know what they're doing. That is what the news media does. That's what the left has done, and they've done it for years. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get you past that. Now, are you ready? We don't just give you the news here at Just Our Take. We try to give you the news behind the news, or the reasoning behind what's going on. So with our expert analysis team, Dave and I,
expert. I was going to say, go on.
sources close to the event.
Sources close, yes.
Oh, so we were talking about this, and we have some theories. And here's my theory. My theory is this story has not gone away.
Yeah, and I like this theory, right? Autopen is much bigger. It's a much bigger story, and has a much bigger impact. It's a far bigger issue than anything related to that the SignalGate.
So the SignalGate was leaking non-secret, non-military. I mean, again, we pointed out there's nothing there. There is no information there. There's no level of confidentiality in that. And so with that said, and then this whole thing about Pete's wife being there again, where was there and what was discussed? Why couldn't she have been there? And was it a routine event where she was supposed to be there? Yeah. We don't know. What we do know is that anonymous sources said sensitive information was discussed, right?
Right. Just like they always do. People close to the situation knew.
Go on the record. But here's why this is important. All of those things, the Teslas, and we know that people are paying those folks that were pro-Tesla now to be anti-Tesla. And they're going out, and the media is getting on board with it. We've got far left administration officials. When I say administration, these are local administration officials, city, state, those kind of people. They're getting on board with it. They want to, stir up the hate and discontent. But why? They want to do all that, and they're the whole coordinated event. And David, I think the comment came up earlier, who's paying for it? You did say that USAID is already, or someone said it, USAID is all dried up. It's not, actually. If you look, they're still fighting to keep those payments from going out. But some of these payments have continued to go out. So I would bet that some of those monies are still our taxpayer dollars paying these protesters to burn down our Tesla buildings, ours, I say it figuratively. But again, let's get into why is Autopen such a big deal. One reason we see Dems in synchronized hysteria over signal messaging, whatever that is.
Imbroglio. I don't know that word. I'm going to have to look that up.
It's not only a typical gotcha game, but it's also far more in play. With the dramatic street theater representative Eric Swalwell, Senator Adam Schiff, and Mark Warner, the contrived street theater has two desired effects. First, some of the Democrat members of Congress were deluding themselves that they had finally found an issue to stop getting crushed by President Trump and a growing measure of the American electorate. However, those on the blue team that are clear thinking know that they have a much larger issue at play, Autopen Gate. The second issue is the real reason the blue histrionics. They're using chaff and flares to divert attention from the Autopen scandal. Chaff and flares are something that you would put up to elude radar. It makes it so you can't see through the radar. Autopen Gate represents a distinct manifestation of constitutional crisis. The entire set of Biden committee members that ran the executive branch during the era of 46 are culpable in a criminal RICO conspiracy to evade the 25th Amendment and the requirement for a wet signature from the competent, cognizant president. Now, look at that. They are culpable in a criminal RICO conspiracy to evade the 25th Amendment. They knew that he was not competent. They knew that he was not cognizant. And they hid it. And they hid it by faking these signatures.
Yes. And the news media carried it, and the news media did their job, right? And all of the actors and all of the people that are part of that are benefiting by the cabal all supported it. But meanwhile, there's clear evidence for no less than the last 18 months of his presidency, maybe almost 2 years, where he clearly was not in the right state of mind. And there are times where he wasn't even in the office. The Autopen's out there signing things. Now you could say he gave the order and therefore it was happening while he was sunning at the beach. But regardless, you know, some of the policy that was being written when it what's the word for it, became law, right? Became his executive orders while he's sunning at the beach, or the pardons that happened. I don't even know if he was aware of who was being pardoned.
No.
So yeah,
I agree. You can't have it both ways. He was either completely incoherent and incapable of signing these things, or he is, and he's pretending that he's not, which would mean that then he could stand court or stand trial for those wrongs that he has done.
Yeah.
It goes on to talk about the constitutional vests numerous powers in one man and one man alone, the President of the United States. These powers include signing or vetoing bills, signing or vetoing orders, resolutions, or certain legislative votes, nominating and commissioning officers, and granting reprieves and pardons. In all of these instances, the president's president's personal action is required, i.e., he shall perform some action. These mandates are exclusive to the president. Therefore, it is well established that the president cannot delegate these decisions to anyone. The president affixing his wet signature not only signifies consent, but it is legally required act. It goes on to talk about, again, more of the constitutional requirements for a true wet signature. And it talks about some of the areas where you would not require a wet signature. Some of those would be like in a signing where someone said, here, you know, dear Mr. President, can you sign me a letter for my school or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, I think all of those were fan-based, or any of the letters that were, I wrote, I'm just thinking about all the letters to people, all the letters to, you know, I wrote a letter and I want to make it public. Those are not policy necessarily, right? It's not policy. It's not law. It's not a legal action that's taking place. Fine, use an Autopen, right? It makes good sense. You'll save on your carpal tunnel. But if you're going to sign something that's going to become the law and have a material impact on our country, then you absolutely need to hold that pen in your hand and sign it, knowing full well. Do you remember the one video? I should go find the clip where he's like, and you guys are going to put the date on here and everything. You guys are going to fill in the rest. Oh yes. Oh yes, Mr. President, we're going to fill in the rest. What do you even know what you're signing? You can't possibly, how can you sign a document that's not complete, by the way, which is exactly what happened in that instance. So yeah.
So Roger asks a great question. Why haven't they charged after the Autopen story? I think they don't know who all was involved. They just talked about a RICO conspiracy. RICO cases take a long time to put together. And they're once a RICO case is brought together, they almost always get convictions. So if they truly are going after a RICO on this, that's really bad news for these people. Really bad news. And there could be, you know, dozens of people wrapped up in this, but they need to get everybody involved. They don't want to rush this and get his secretary and say, well, she was the one who had kept the Autopen. 8,000 people. Alice looked it up that there were 8,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think he knows 8,000 people. I don't think I don't think he signed his name 8,000 times. But anyway, that's the other thing is when we look at this, we always watch Donald Trump. He makes a spectacle out of signing these things. He makes sure that everybody sees them signing these things.
Well, yeah, and you've seen the signature, right? It's not like a DJ Trump. It's like Donald John Trump. It's like, it's a moment. It takes him like a minute to sign a document.
Yeah, it's going to be, again, this is why I think, obviously others think the same, that they're going down these roads. And when they're trying to distract you, please look at the details. Is it an anonymous source that's told you that you should believe that? If they're telling you that, oh, look at this, that he gave top secret information about a strike. Really? We didn't even know what day that was, right? It says 13:30. The current time is 11:44 Eastern time.
John,
on what day?
I think the best thing that will I'm hopeful. I'm ever hopeful just like so many other people, right? We're ever hopeful. I'm hopeful that that actually was, in fact, a way to flush out a mole, to flush out who are the people that are still working against you in the machine, and that's what comes of it. And even if no one gets arrested or, maybe somebody gets fired, but it's just an example. Like, look how easy it was to fool you. You morons were way ahead of you. I'm very hopeful that that's what comes of that. And that's the final note.
I agree.
Yeah.
Great. I think well, there's still leakers. There will be more leakers. That's not a question. I really believe that they constantly, they either get these people through some sort of coercion. Maybe they have something on them, or they get a honeypot where, oh yeah, you know what? Your girlfriend, that Chinese girlfriend of yours, yeah, she works for the CCP. I mean, one of those things. So I think that there will continue to be leakers. There always have been leakers. But that's where the saying "loose lips sink ships" came from.
Yep.
The leakers, but this is a big one.
We'll have to keep our eyes open on that. But I think your Uber point, which is SignalGate distraction, right? Tesla burn Tesla cars, distraction for what's the real news. Well, the real news is much bigger than any of that. I think you're right.
I think so. Let me take a moment and pull up a couple slides here because doggone it, we like to. No. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Steel Rebel Design, for always taking such good care of us here at the Just Our Take Show. All of our hats, shirts, cups, hoodies, you name it, if it's got our logo on it, they made it, Steel Rebel Design. They will take good care of you too. If you want one of our hats, shirts, or cups, just go down below in the description. They're down below in the description. You click on merch or hats, and that'll take you to their shop. And if you don't see what you're looking for there, you can go ahead and get a hold of Kim at Steel Rebel Design, and she will make sure that you get what you're looking for. Use the code JustOurTake in your checkout, and they will give you 10% discount on your first purchase. This is where you can get the original. This is the Just Our Take original fight shirt. This is the shirt that we wore and had other people wear to the different Trump rallies. It's got a picture of Trump in his famous fight pose with the American flag behind him. And then on the sleeve, there's the Just Our Take logo, as well as a QR code so that you can share the Just Our Take show with lots of your friends. So also, you have the hats, but they're behind me on the shelves and I can't get to them quickly. But David, are you wearing you're wearing an OG hat, right?
I'm wearing the OG hat. Yes, tonight. I thought, you know what? This feels like an OG hat night.
Yep. Anyway, thank you to Kim and crew at Steel Rebel Design for always supporting the Just Our Take show. We really appreciate you guys. I have to show you something. This is going to blow your mind. I know very few things blow your mind anymore, but this, have you seen that, by the way, they still have hundreds of illegals waiting outside of what's the big hotel in New York City?
I don't remember the name.
A real expensive, like $500-600 a night.
Yeah.
They're still waiting outside there.
Yeah.
And they're going in. They have to go outside while their rooms are cleaned every day. They get their room service. They got to pick up all the food that they ate. And
who's funding that? Because the money got cut off.
Yeah, that's what they told us. But here we go. That's right. Go Steel. Great hats. We love the hats. We do. Pat, your shirt is ready. I will pick it up for you and I'll get it to you. Sorry. That's my fault, not theirs. Totally my fault. Here we go. You got to see this one. This is wonderful. Well, it's not. I mean, it might make you angry.
Okay, I did see that.
Stuff like this, like at all the shelters and stuff. But like our company, this is why we try to help people by, providing them with refunds,
This is Savannah Hernandez in front of the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City. Now, we wanted to come check in on the migrant crisis. And as we were walking around, we saw a Jackson Hewitt table out here with an employee who was handing out this flyer. Now, what this flyer says is working or not, file your taxes and we can get the maximum refund for your family. And the paper says that if you have one child, you you can get over $7,000 in a refund. And if you have up to 3 children, you can get over $14,000. So the Jackson Hewitt employee who initially handed me this paper, after finding out I was a journalist, took the paper away. That's why this one's so dirty, because a migrant ended up giving me another copy. And he stated that if he's put on camera and this goes out, that legal will have to get involved.
We do this stuff like this, like at all the shelters and stuff. Right?
But like our company, this is why we try to help people by, providing them with refunds,
So you guys are trying to help the migrants with their taxes then,
Yes.
to help them get refunds, help them get some money back from the
Yes.
government.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, we're just going to go try to talk to them.
Can't put my footage.
Can we take one of your papers, though, just so we can kind of... Thank you.
Actually, you should just take this one because this one has my office information, and
Okay.
so therefore legal would have to get involved. So that's
Okay, so just wanted to give you guys an idea of, again, what migrants have been told in New York City. Now that tax season is coming up, they are being given official flyers from Jackson Hewitt themselves on how to file their taxes. We have the Trump administration that is currently in office, and they have been promising mass deportations. But in sanctuary cities like New York, where you've had over 200,000 illegal immigrants make their way to this area, the crisis is very much alive and well.
Thank you to Frontlines, powered by Turning Point USA, for that footage. I got to tell you, David, you and I both know somebody that works for one of the large tax preparation companies. That's
Yes.
as much as I'm going to give him, because I love the guy. He's only following what is the law, actually, not even just his company's procedures, but the law. If you are a unpapered immigrant, just a nice way to be.
That
If you're
was
an
good.
illegal alien
Very
here,
nice.
yeah, if you're an illegal alien here, you can go apply. They will get you a tax ID number, not a social security number. Give you a tax ID number. They'll have you file your taxes even if you did not work. And because you are not working, there is that, what's it called? The minimum tax. Oh, I don't remember the name of it, but bottom line is if you make below a certain amount, you get an automatic $14,000 refund.
So I will look into this, but I think if you're using just a taxpayer, you don't have a social security number, but you have a taxpayer ID, which is different. I don't believe you're entitled to any of those benefits.
I will tell you 100% without any equivocation at all. That's what's happening. Because
I'm not saying they're not getting paid. They're not supposed to get.
This person that you and I both know well. I know him very, very well.
Yeah.
You've met him on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
He gave that whole rundown to me, and I would have him on the show, but he absolutely would get fired for letting people know that. But it's true. They help them through the process of getting the number that they can file with. And he said that they actually started sending pictures out to the serial habitual abusers, because they figured, well, if they're giving me a new number, I just go get a new number at the next location. So these people were going to 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 locations, and now they're making $100,000.
You remember the guy that was bragging, the influencer? I should have brought a video clip of him. If I had known we're going to talk about this, he was bragging about how he made all this money, and then he's trying to tell people how to go squat in houses. It's easy. I don't even have to work. Look at all the money I have. And he's fanning out his monies. Yeah, he's getting deported. But the fact that anyone gets a check, this is why I do pay my taxes. I don't want to pay my taxes anymore until we get this stuff straightened out, because my taxes, which I had to work really hard to make the money that I'm now paying taxes on, are just getting flushed away. That's not okay with me.
Yep. Can I give you the numbers? Cyclone Joe, you're 100% right. Vote.
Yeah. Well, they've been trying that for a bit now, right? They've been trying to move them along. If Joe Biden had gotten reelected, or if Kamala Harris, God forbid, had been elected, these people would have been fast-tracked to citizens. Instead of unwinding the whole thing, they would have been moved along. They'd be U.S. citizens, and then whether they're working or not, whether they're contributing or not. And by the way, I know a lot of them want to work, right? So I'm not talking about there's different people. Some people want to work and they will do whatever it takes to help support their family. And then there are others who are excited to take advantage of a system that is just ridiculously flawed.
Yeah. Okay. So not to get everybody's, hair on the back of their neck standing up and getting everybody angry. And Pat, I did know that you were just being facetious. Because quite frankly, I mean,
Yeah, really, my brain doesn't work this way, but sometimes I wish it was. Like, we should have started an NGO 8 years ago. John, by now, we would be filthy rich, and some of that money would have gone to something.
no, and then we could get three squares and a hot cot over in Gitmo.
No, because anyways, go on.
So apparently the PBS executive got caught lying to Congress.
The drag queen was actually not on any of our kids' shows. It did not air. It was mistakenly put on our website by our New York City station. It was not intended for national distribution. It was immediately pulled down. It was never broadcast.
Do you think that our witness, Miss Kerger, lied under oath and said it wasn't featured on PBS? This show was aired on PBS on April 1st, 2021.
The hips on the drag queen go swish, swish, swish. So the shoulders on the drag queen go shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. The mouth on the drag queen goes blah, blah.
That's repulsive. That's not what children ages 3 to 8 should ever be watching. That was aired on April 1st, 2021.
MGT. I see it in the comments too. I agree. She's vicious. She says that's repulsive. And I agree. What 3 or 4-year-old needs to see that? What the heck?
Yeah.
But
she got caught lying before Congress.
Good. Well, what happens to people who lie to Congress?
Well, if you are, who was it that got busted? It was, anyway, some of these people that lied to Congress or refused subpoenas, they ended up doing jail time. So maybe we'll get some of the same. I don't know.
We'll see.
No,
we'll see. I don't know why I can't think of his name. It's he said, lost John. He said, oh God, what is his name? He said, he was brought before the January 6th Inquisition, and he was told he's going to have to testify. And he said, I'll testify, but only if you air it publicly with no delay. Let me be on live TV. And then what's his name? And then they said, no, there's no way we're going to allow the world hear your testimony. We won't have a chance to edit it first. So therefore, if you refuse to testify, you're going to jail. And then he went to jail. What's his name? He's, oh gosh, it's driving me nuts. Come on, people in the chat. Somebody who knows.
I don't remember who you're talking
about. You do. When you hear it, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. Shoot. Steve Bannon, yeah. He went to jail because he said, I will only testify if it's live and everyone can watch it. And they said no. And then he went to jail. But who else went to jail for lying to Congress or in contempt of Congress? Anybody else? Hunter Biden? No, not Hunter. Okay.
Steve Miller, right? Didn't Steve Miller? Someone else did. I remember there was a few actually. So isn't it great to have a 27-year-old in charge of the press now?
She's so good. Oh my gosh. She is so talented. Yes.
There is you know what, if they thought, there's a saying in cowboy country, when someone puts a hat on, all hat and no cattle, right? They probably thought she's all pretty and no brains, but let's just let Caroline speak for herself.
Caroline, I have 2 questions. One on a follow-up on something you just said, but since we have these messages released and you said that the president has now personally reviewed them, at the chat at one point, Pete Hegseth wrote 1415 strike drones on target, and in all caps he said, this is when the first bombs will definitely drop. Does the president feel that he was misled by his national security advisors, whoever it was that told him there was no classified information in there, now that he's seen these messages?
I've now been asked and answered this question 3 times by the both of you, and I've given you my answer. The president feels the same today as he did yesterday.
Okay, Philip. And on my follow-up on what you had just said.
Go ahead, Philip.
I'm not taking your follow-up. I have a follow-up on something you just said, though, Caroline. That's
Caitlin,
regarding
I'm not
Jeffrey
taking
Goldsberg.
your follow-up. Philip, go ahead. I've called
Thank you. The vice president seemed to express.
Caitlin, zip it.
I am not taking your follow-up.
Wow. That's the way you do it. You just like, no, I've already asked her this question how many times. Now, unlike Kareem Jean-Pierre, who literally, that's it, I'm going home, closed the book, and walked off within a huff. She's just like, enough of you. Okay, next question from somebody else. I love it.
Well, and it wasn't the former Postmaster General.
La 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 la. Hear no evil, see no evil. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. All right.
No fear.
This one, I wonder if Mrs. John is watching. Some people have seen this already. And I don't care if you've seen it already or not. This is so, for me, such a beautiful moment. I am going to share it with you all. So let me just read this and then I'll pull it up. Idaho's governor signed a law requiring students to learn about human development in the womb using resources like Live Action's Baby Olivia video. North Dakota and Tennessee have already signed some similar laws. 19 others are considering it this year. Big win for truth, science, and life. I'm just going to hit escape here. I'm going to share this screen and I'm going to share this video with you because it is nothing short of stunning, beautiful, and all of those adverbs, verbs, and descriptors that you could hope for. That's not the one. Yeah, there it is. Scott, you got to do a better job here, buddy.
Come on, Scott.
We pay you the big bucks. So here we go.
This is Olivia. Though she has yet to greet the outside world, she has already completed an amazing journey. This is the moment that life begins. A new human being has come into existence. At fertilization, her gender, ethnicity, hair color, eye color, and countless traits are already determined. She begins to implant in the uterus about 1 week after fertilization. Her cells organize into what we call an embryo. At 3 weeks and 1 day, just 22 days after fertilization, Olivia's heartbeat can be detected. The buds of her arms and legs appear by 4 weeks. She begins to move between 5 and 6 weeks with both spontaneous and reflexive movements. At 6 weeks from fertilization, her brain activity can be recorded and bone formation begins. She can bring her hands together at 7.5 weeks, and separate fingers and toes emerge. She can also begin to hiccup. At the beginning of the 9th week, Olivia will have grown from a single cell into nearly 1 billion cells, and she is now called a fetus. She will suck her thumb and swallow, grasp an object, touch her face, sigh, and stretch. At 11 weeks, she is playing in the womb, moving her body and exploring her environment. Her taste bud cells have matured by week 12, but are still scattered throughout her mouth. Her mother will first sense Olivia's movements between 14 and 18 weeks, an event called quickening. Beginning at 18 weeks, ultrasounds show speaking movements in her voice box. Around 20 weeks, with a lot of help, babies have survived outside the womb. At 27 weeks, her eyes are responding to light. She can recognize her parents' voices and will even recognize lullabies and stories. Olivia has gone on an amazing journey during these last 9 months. She will soon signal to her mother that it is time for delivery and greet the outside world.
Oh man, chills, huh?
Yeah, that's incredible. And that's the thing, right? When you as a young person, when you see that, and then you have this crowd of people saying, abort, abort, abort. It's the right thing to do. And meanwhile, you're like, wait a minute, this is a real human being. This is a life. Maybe that that innocent life didn't choose to be there, but they're there. So give them a chance. Anyways, that's a beautiful video.
I think it's amazing that these states are going to, make that a requirement. We're going to actually we're going to go back and teach true biology and human development. That's something else, right?
Actually, now that you said it, wait, we're going to teach science. It's crazy. You're going to learn some science.
Yeah. So I'm pulling up. Do you have a video, David? It looks like you've got something ready there. It's hard to follow that up. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'll follow it up. Look, this is very serious. What I'm going to put on the screen right now, the new Canadian Prime Minister said we no longer have the same relationship with the U.S. Those days are gone. And by the way, we have our own military, and we are getting people ready as a show of force within Canada to say, look at our soldiers. They had a parade, and I just want to give you a little glimpse of that parade. Now, I've never been in the military. So I was never in the military, so I don't have firsthand experience. I have seen some of the military recruiting videos that have come out of China and Russia and a few other countries, and some of the old ones from the U.S. It looked a little different. They were like spot on and sharp, and everything was like like that guy right there was struggling. So funny. So I don't know what I'm watching, but
this is so when you first get to boot camp, they pull you off of a. And by the way, I put that link in the chat, the show chat for you. That's for the Lily Grace Rose video. When they first pull you off, they line you up. You've got your long hair from your civilian life, and they're yelling at you. It's probably 2 or 3 in the morning. They're yelling at you. They're telling you to get in line. You don't know what line is. Line up, 4 across, and then they have a whole lot of. Now let's march over to the haircut place. We're like, march. You left. You're like, they're telling, get in. They're screaming. So that's about how bad we look on the first night. You can see the guy, he's like trying to skip into place. This guy right here. All right, about there's this guy right.
Yeah.
He's like, puts his arm back out.
No, poor guy.
That's a group of and by the way, I really like the matching uniforms.
I just first off, I don't think that the US and Canada no longer have a strong relationship. I do think that at the moment, the cabal, even in Canada, there's a cabal, will do what it can to try to have a divide. And I do think Trump's statements are probably a little incendiary, but the relationship is definitely not, we still have a relationship. But I also think that it's the US military that's been protecting Canada for a long time. And Canada knows that too. Now that shouldn't necessarily be held over their head. So I'm not condoning using that as a stick. But I will say this: if that's the military in Canada, yikes.
I am all for them using that as a stick. If they don't appreciate what we're giving them, then we don't need to give it to them anymore. That's all I'm saying. And let me tell you, I say that from somebody who has a very dear aunt and very dear cousin that are full-time Canadian residents, born and raised there. But I don't think that they stand on that platform of, we don't appreciate it. They very much do. They understand where it comes from. By the way, when they have like medical procedures that are a little bit more complex or a little more urgent, guess where they go? They go to Seattle.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a mixed bag for the Canadians that I know. It's a mixed bag when they talk about medical health care. On the one hand, it sounds great. Everything sounds great. But then if you have something that's important, urgent, and you need to get to a doctor, depending on where you are in the country, your experience is not the same. You don't just get to walk into you don't just get to go be seen. And so the people do pay for private insurance. And there is good medical experience in Canada, but you got to pay for it. It's not.
Well, I'll tell you, growing up, my grandfather and grandmother, they lived half of the year in, oh, Alice, thank you so much. You're the best. Really appreciate. Thank you, Alice. You're awesome. Alice just became a monthly supporter, and she, above and beyond, she actually gets to use those really cool, the new emojis that we made specifically just for the subscriber. So thank you, Alice. Appreciate that. But my grandmother and grandpa used to live half of the year down in Palm Desert, California, and they had access to the beautiful Eisenhower Memorial Hospital down there. Great medical care. And then they lived half the year in BC, off the coast of Vancouver Island, and they would always stop in Seattle on their way back up to Canada, and on the way back down to they would always get their medical care there in Seattle. They would never go to the Canadian. Now, I'm not saying that it's terrible, but I'm telling you, socialized medicine, period.
Yeah, there's different levels of it for sure. I have another quick one. If you're open for another.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, quick hit. Tell me if you can guess what's happening here.
Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free Mahmoud Khalil! Free Mahmoud Khalil! Free, free, free Mahmoud Khalil! Free.
So.
Okay, let me mute it so we can talk. I want to go back. I didn't have a way to zoom in on this, but
oh my gosh.
Master of International Affairs.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's why I'm laughing.
What you do with that.
This is why I'm laughing so hard. Can you imagine 20 years from now, they're like, oh, I can't believe I fell for that garbage. I wasted $240,000 for some moron that was a terrorist.
What's wrong with me?
I just tore up $240,000.
Well, also Eliza Margarita Bates. I'm not sure where you're going to be working next, but wherever you're going to go work next, they're going to
ask for that piece of paper.
And the university might say, well, if you don't want it, we're going to go ahead and unwind it. You don't have it. So if somebody calls in to ask for it, they're going to hear, you don't got it. Did you go to class there? Yep. Did she complete all of her classes? Yep. Does she have a diploma? Is she a graduate? Nope.
No,
she ripped it up.
David. Eliza Bates? Never heard of her.
That's the best answer. No, she lied on that. If she says she has a degree from this college, she lied on her application.
Unbelievable. Okay. So that's going to be clip of the day. That's clip of the day. I'm going to show you the second runner up to clip of the day.
Okay.
This one warms my heart in ways that I can't even explain to you. That's because I'm a little bit twisted.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Oh, are you? I said, why are you wearing that hat? I don't know how long the Democrats have been running New York since who knows how long. But then Trump comes in and just fixes it. All right, well, this is my style. I hope you enjoy the hat. Oh, she got tackled. She just
No.
Oh, she got tackled. She just
I'm sorry. I shouldn't get so much pleasure out of that. But that comes under the heading of don't do it.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to steal this man's hat?
I wish I still had it up. I don't have it handy, darn it. She now she's been identified because that video went viral, and there are lots of variations of that video, including some slow-mo ones, which I thought, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't take pleasure in anyone else's pain either. That's absolutely wrong of me, and that's why I'm going to heck. But the violence And what he could have done is he could have fought her back, right? He could have stood his ground. He could have fought her back, and then who knows? He would have been arrested for battery or something, and then they'd have to sort it out in court. And you know what happens in New York? I mean, you defend a subway car full of people, and you end up going to, have to stand trial for it. So he runs away, which is probably the smartest thing to do. And karma catches up with her in a few seconds. And I'm just saying it couldn't have a better ending to that one.
It didn't take long, did it?
No. And not only that, okay, so she's been identified, and she's kind of she's I want to say consultant, but she's the one who will tell you what to do. So she's worked with Tiffany and Coach and a number of these very high-end executive brands. And I'm just wondering how many of them are going to be so eager to want to work with her in the future after her viral incident on the subway car. She could have just minded her own business. She could have just said, you know what? We have different points of view, and I disagree with yours, and that's the way it is. Which is, by the way, what I do every time I see someone with blue hair and piercings all over the place. I'm like, you know what? Live and let live. It's not my way. But what I don't do is I don't sit there and berate them and try to yell at them and then chase them down to do what? To do what? What was she going to do when she caught him? Anyways.
So that's the thing, is that you I hate to say it, but this comes under that heading that everyone keeps talking about: mess around and find out. Like the way I edited that a little bit.
Yeah, I like the way you edited that. I was going to say, I saw this meme. It said it was one of the Despicable Me little yellow guys. I can't think of what they're called, but they're so cute. Anyways, he's like, I'm going to stop asking, how dumb can you get? Because people seem to be taking it as a challenge. Okay, I'll stop laughing at people's pain, because
no, it's not. It's, you know what, David, the problem is, the people have talked about this before. You cannot regulate common sense, and you just can't. I'm going to show you one more little picture here because, doggone it, I've got the picture shower upper thingy.
Nice.
It's technical.
That's a very technical term.
Yep.
In producer school, that's where you learn that term, I'm sure.
So Bill Gates is now in panic mode after reports that President Trump will terminate support for his Gavi initiative, which aims to vaccinate half the world's children. The CEO of the Gates Foundation issued a statement crying, I am deeply disturbed by news reports that the U.S. administration is considering withdrawing support for the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization. If true, and if Congress allows this to happen, the impacts will be devastating, including possibility of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of preventable deaths, especially among mothers and children. We are going to do everything possible to convince the administration and the Congress to reverse these actions if true.
If you believe in it that strongly, and you actually have the money to handle this on your own, you should use your money, put your money where your cause is. And if you believe that cause is worthy of your money, put your money there. But guess what? The rest of us don't want to fund it anymore. I don't want to fund it anymore. Also,
I'm going to bring this up really quick. If we subscribe, do we have to call you Mr. John and Mr. David? No, actually you don't. You can keep calling us minions or morons, or whatever you want to.
Whatever you want.
Your take, because you get to have your take as well.
That's right.
I was driving home from the big city today with Mrs. John, and we heard a news, or not a news, we heard an advertisement. And I don't know if you've heard this or not, but apparently they didn't say who, but they said they have decided that the age has come way down for you when you're supposed to get your pneumonia vaccine. It used to be 62. Now they want you to get it at age 50. Okay.
Oh.
They didn't say who said. They're saying experts believe that you should now get that at age 50. Then they come on and said, come on, Gen X, it's your turn to stand up and be counted. Get your pneumonia vaccine and blah, 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 blah. Sponsored by Pfizer. I'm not joking. It said sponsored by Pfizer at the end.
Of course it did. sponsored by, hey, our quarterly returns are going to be down and we need some more vaccines so that we can make our numbers. You know, John,
That's
every single
exactly
time.
what I said. I'm sorry, David. That's exactly what I said when I heard it. I'm like, their numbers are down because people aren't buying into it anymore. They've got to find a way. So let's just lower the age. You got to go get your pneumonia vaccine.
Exactly. Every single time I'm in my local supermarket, every single time I hear on the loudspeaker, hey, everybody, today's the day. You know, be counted, take care of yourself, come get your COVID and flu vaccine all at once and save 10% on your groceries.
You can't go if they have a pharmacy inside that does any sort of vaccine, they're going to announce that. By the way, the local, I can say it, Albertsons, they have, and that's the Albertsons that you went into with us that time. Remember where we got yelled at?
Well, I do remember that. Oh my God.
I went into that, and there are signs everywhere. There's stickers everywhere saying, "Oh, we're doing the flu vaccines. We're doing your pneumonia vaccines." I'm telling you, on the checkouts, each checkout had at least 20 of these little stickers on it that says, "Get your vaccines in our pharmacy department."
Yeah. I mean, you got to make the numbers. Numbers are down. We don't have another look. It was supposed to be bird flu in 2025. Kamala was going to be at the helm and shots for everybody. I mean, vaccines for everybody. And dang nabbit, she didn't make it. RFK Jr.'s in there, and there's no way he's going to allow that to happen. And how are we going to hit our numbers? So, yes.
Same reason they keep lowering the blood pressure numbers and cholesterol numbers and on and on and on. That's exactly right. And funny, these people are starting to come out and saying, well, but and I don't know this. I do know that there is someone in the chat that may know this. So it would be good to have you on the show, Mr. Someone in the chat, that you'll know who I'm talking about when you hear it, but I don't want to out you until you and I have a conversation later. I have heard that that's what makes the brain works is cholesterol. So if you keep on lowering your cholesterol, you keep getting dumber. But we do have someone in the chat that has firsthand personal experience in that. And that would be fun to have him on the show as a medical expert in that area, if he would be so willing to
that
talk
would be amazing. There is a lot of information around that. It's easy for us to be misled, and we are misled constantly.
I just want to point out, David, you let that go right past your head. We have a brain surgeon in the audience.
Surgeon in the audience.
Just our take.
I'm impressed. I would like to meet the brain surgeon.
Anyway, hey, I know that you had a few more things in the shot list. Do you want to toss them out there?
Let me throw one more up. Now, my question for this one is, oops, that's not it. What would you do? Okay, so this is what would you do? I'm gonna mute the sound on this one just because you could have the sound, but you don't need it. What would you do?
Oh, I can tell you.
Driving along, you're just trying to make your way through the city today. You're just trying to get home or get to work or get to your kid's soccer practice. I don't know. There's a reason why you're trying to go from here to there, and then this guy jumps out in the middle of traffic and stops you, and then stops you another one, and the truck's like, not me, I'm out of here. And then what? And then what are we stopping traffic for again? Oh, wait, because we need to show our allegiance to the Mexican flag, which I have nothing but love for Mexico, but still, like, you're stopping at least, and then you've got some abomination of a flag. I'm not sure what you call that one there, but yeah. John, what would you do?
I see the guys on stilts. That's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. It's a little entertaining.
So we've said this before. If they were flying the American flag out there, people might have a different view of them.
Yeah.
I don't know that I still would have appreciated them stopping traffic on the middle of the 101 freeway, but I wouldn't. I mean, don't fly another country's flag as you're protesting to stay in this country. That's someone taught you the wrong protesting 101.
Yeah, and they didn't have a drum either, by the way. But besides that, like, just this guy jumps out on the freeway. I'm going to stop cars. He's lucky he didn't, become roadkill.
I mean, listen, this is not legal advice. This is Sean's opinion. My opinion is, I would do my best to avoid, but I'm not stopping. I will not stop because I don't know what these people are going to do. Do you listen? I am old enough to remember the Rodney King riots, where they pulled Reginald Denny out of his truck and beat him silly.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not stopping.
Yeah. And then after he recovered with brain damage and everything, he's in court saying, I actually can't remember who it was that put me in this situation.
I know who it was because they got him on camera. His name
Because it was on film.
Damian Football Williams.
Yeah. Although his mom said, I don't know if that's my son. I can't tell. The imagery is so grainy. That thug did it. We saw it.
Hey, we have another big one here. Apparently, Will, love you, Will, sent us a $20 Rumble rant. So awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Again, not necessary, but we love you guys and appreciate everything that you do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you what, Dave. I love the first part of the show where we put our little thing, the step 1, step 2, and then conclusion together. That part, when the things start coming together like that, that's when I feel like, oh man, if people start listening and paying attention to this stuff, they won't be fooled again. And already we've got people in this audience that have opened their eyes and started. I heard from a listener, a longtime follower of the show the other day that said, before we started following your show, we couldn't give a hoot about politics or what's going on in the news. And they do now, and they follow the show, and they also watch the news with a very careful eye.
Yeah.
That right there is that's payment enough for us. When we hear those kind of stories, that's amazing, and that we love hearing that. We really do. So we're glad that we're able to help out. If you hadn't hit the thumbs up already, it's way late in the show, but please do that. We love when you do that. And I did post the other day, I did the live from the barbershop, and it was on TikTok because I could not do the live. Didn't have a strong enough signal to do the live for the Rumble, but we did the live on TikTok, and then I uploaded that video, and you can find that video. It's about 2 hours and 15 minutes. You can skip to your favorite parts. There's some fun conversation that went on. We actually met a kid that is a bull rider, and this bull rider has had a few concussions. You can go follow that. We also had, and this was really kind of cool, we had the chief of police from our small little town come in and get his haircut during this event. And he talked to us about things that are going on in the town, things about where he came from, what he's doing, what he wants to see. It was actually a really fun interview. So you can find that on our channel as well. And I think that's called Fridays at the Barbershop.
I love it.
Anything else for you?
Not tonight, John. Not tonight, John, but I am sure between now and Wednesday. Now, Wednesday, I may not be here with you, but I think you'll have L, if I heard you right. If I heard right,
yes,
Sunday.
sir. L said
very good. Yes. So I will, fortunately and unfortunately, I won't be here Wednesday night. And the reason why is I have a work obligation. So that's the fortunate part, because I'm glad to have what I have. But that said, I am quite confident that between now and then, there'll be more exciting news around SignalGate and Tesla. And I'm really hopeful. I'm going to stay ever hopeful that we hear more about Autopen and a few other things that are going on. What I hope we don't hear is Iran saying we're not going to comply, and then Trump feeling like he's got to actually follow through, because he follows through, and he
does.
Promises made, promises kept, and he made some pretty stark promises about Iran this week. So I'm going to hope that Iran comes to the table in a more positive way, and we avoid any more military action. But outside of that, I'm really looking forward to more from Autopen. What do we call that? Autopen Gate?
Autopen Gate. Autopen Gate.
Autopen
You have to be careful. You have to be careful of that.
Yeah,
those people that have been in Southern California for any length of time know what we're alluding to there. Yeah. Pat just gave us an amazing $10 Rumble rant. Thank you so much, Pat. We appreciate you. Again, completely unnecessary, but we love you for doing it. And thank you very much. I want to share one last thing before I go. I was listening to Glenn Beck the other day, and he was taking apart some of the information from the JFK files that they've released. And he went out to a ranch where they will allow you to use just about any kind of pew-pew. I can't say the word because we'll get kicked. And they actually set up a simulation where they were towing a tractor, and the tractor had balloons to represent what was being aimed at. And they had a tower that didn't go up the full 6 stories. It went up 3 stories. And they were traveling at about the same speed and the same distances, the same angles, and all of those things. A couple key points. One, they said, and that they also had the exact same type of rifle, by the way, the exact same type of rifle that they were using, which is very odd because it was a collectible back then. And so it wasn't like your average everyday, these people had this. Anyway, they made the shot very easy. They said that they could teach anybody off the street within 1 hour how to make that shot. They wouldn't have to be a fantastic shot. That there was one where they said that one of the rounds went wide and hit the curb. They said that would have been like standing 10 feet from the target and hitting 5 feet off. It's just not reasonable that happened. The other thing that they said, the angle that the story that they're being told is that these rounds went directly through and hit the passenger. If that makes sense. Do you remember when they're saying that? The governor, I think it was, got hit in the elbow, and they're calling that the magic, the magic bullet, because it went through JFK and into him. And then, that's what they're saying happened. In doing the simulation, every single time they did it, and they ran it several times, the driver is the one that would have been hit and would have been unalived based on the trajectory of all of these rounds. 3 rounds, all 3 of them would have hit the driver. Interesting stuff. I'm sure we're going to hear more about that.
Right. And we still only have a small amount of the documentation that's been released. The other one that was just declassified, although I don't know if it's I should probably look. Was it Hurricane Project? Not Project Hurricane. What was it called? It's the Russiagate. Russia. Anyways, all of those files have been declassified now.
Oh,
and
wow.
So now, what's that?
I said, oh, wow, we're going to have to dig into that too.
Yes, which would be very exciting, because hopefully good reporters out there will dig through it and find the facts and actually report on them, and just report the news. Just be a reporter. You don't have to have
Crossfire Hurricane is what it was.
Crossfire Hurricane. Thank you. Yes. So that'll
Sorry,
be
it just hit
exciting.
me. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I think we're going to cut it at that. David, have a safe trip. Please keep us posted on your travels. If you want to send me a live video clip we could put on the air, that'd be kind of fun, like we did it's not South Korea, but it is somewhere in the continental United States. That'd be fun.
Okay. All right.
We're going to go out the way we love to go out, and just because I can't even make a video that's nearly this fun, so I'm going to go ahead and toss this one out. Thank you guys so much for being here. We love you, and we will see you on Wednesday.
Have a good night.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
Don't you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
I come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
Making black and blue.